Good morning. Hope you are all well. Friday, already over a week done into lockdown 2. We had Gaynor in yesterday from the NHS and Public Health who came in to talk about diabetes, with it being Diabetes Day on Saturday. A good chance to ask questions. So that was in our live Q&A in our seminar last night, which the ladies on the programme have an option to attend. They don't have to. It's just something there if the topic is of interest, if they want to ask questions. We busted loads of myths, went through things. And I just want to touch on now, like a bit of a recap in terms of a question that I come up a lot about what the best diet is or the best exercise to do for diabetes, and how do I stop myself from getting it, and a lot of this. And what I want to do first is just kind of go over what diabetes actually is, because when you understand that, sometimes it's actually even more powerful to realize that what you're doing with your exercise, with your eating habits, can have such a significant impact on what's going on inside, around your organs, around your health, your metabolism. So if you're listening in on a podcast, you will miss my horrendous drawing. But if you're on YouTube or Facebook now, if you're coming in, give me a hello, then you'll be able to see my drawing. So it is easier when I draw this. So bear with me. So this is, we'll call him Matt. Matt's got a smile on his face. He's got an apple. That's an apple. Okay. The kids still say I'm good at drawing. So Matt's about to eat an apple. He's a stick man. This is him. So he eats the apple. The food, this is inside the body here. And this is Matt on the outside. Hang on. Lockdown here. And then we come down here, so the food starts a digestion in the mouth. And that's why we should chew slowly, because we actually have an enzyme called amylase. Amylase actually breaks down the starch and sugar in our mouth, okay? Then it goes into our stomach, where obviously it's digested a bit more. Then it goes to our small intestine and into the bloodstream. When it's in the bloodstream, this means we have sugar in the bloodstream. This sends a signal to our pancreas. So if this is your pancreas here, and then your pancreas says, right, your blood sugar levels are now higher. We need to secrete insulin, which is a bit like a key, okay? So it's a bit like a key. This is my key. So it's a bit like a key. That's a key. And this opens the door to your cells. So this could be like a muscle cell, which is a big storage of sugar. So remember, the more storage you have, the more storage you have, the more space you have for sugar, essentially, or glucose. Plus, the more you exercise, that's like pulling a plug of a bath. So say you got a bath and it's filled up there. If you exercise, you're draining the bath, and all of a sudden now you've only got that much in there. And it's less likely to overflow, and the overflow is going to cause the issue. So in terms of fat storage, in terms of insulin resistance. So what happens here is the sugar levels are now higher. Your pancreas says secrete insulin. That's the key to the door. However, the door lock is all rusty. So you need WD-40. However, this could come in the form of exercise. This could come in the form of fat loss. Or it could come in the form of medication. Now, what this does is it lubricates the locks and allows the keys to actually work. Because what happens here in this situation, when the rusty locks aren't working because the keys aren't working because of the rusty locks, is your pancreas just keeps going, well, the blood sugar levels are still high, so I'm going to make more keys. So it makes more keys. It makes more keys. And after a long day, what happens? You feel tired. And this is what happens with the pancreas after a long day. It starts to feel tired. And over a period of time, this is when the pancreas can actually start to work less efficiently. And then we may be leading on to whether that's more medication or diabetes getting a bit more complicated. Now, this is an issue then here. This is the majority of the cases with insulin resistance. And like I said, you just need to think, what's my WD-40 here? Because if you keep blood sugar levels high, you're at risk of a lot of things, whether that's heart disease, whether that's more infections, slow wound healing, compromised immune system. I could go on. pretty much increase your risk of everything. So if you consider that, you've now got to consider and look at, okay, what's my WD-40? Well, we know that there's that low-calorie diet that's come out recently. Now, yes, that works for some people, and that does seem to have a significant impact. However, you need to make sure if you're doing that, you're, one, speaking to a healthcare professional, two, making sure that you've got the support in place. Because know that in the research study, they had like literally a dietitian with them, personally working with them. They had someone supporting them all the way through this. And like I always say, the number one thing that when you look at who gets results and who doesn't is, regardless of the diet they do, is actually often the level of support they have. And that's a factor that isn't often looked at in studies when they're comparing diets, like across studies. Because you often go, oh yeah, that diet worked better than that diet. But what support did they get? Did they just get a leaflet? Did they just get a one-to-one and go, see you later? Or were they checked in? How's the diet going? And so what we do with our work. So you've got to consider the level of support. Then you've got exercise independent of weight loss. This is the powerful thing. Independent of weight loss. Independent of weight loss, you are oiling the locks to get sugar and energy into your cells, which, guess what, just so happen to make you feel better, because you're now getting energy to where it needs to go, rather than the energy isn't getting to the cells and the muscle that you need to get to feel better. You might then just feel a bit sluggish. You might feel dehydrated, more tired. These are kind of symptoms of the whole process. Now, what exercise is seeming to do there is independent of a hormone in your body, independent of an organ creating a hormone to help you do this, it does it for you. It almost gives your pancreas a day off, like, not a day off, but see you later, have a break. And your body metabolically is getting healthier. Not to mention we're using up energy, so we're draining the storage of sugar in our cells, less likely to overflow, less insulin resistance, and so on and so forth. It just shows the power of exercise. Now, then you consider the mental health benefits, and that brings me on to the next one, which is the point I wanted to bring on, is about the diabetes diet. Now, given that there is no one diabetes diet, okay, the same principles apply. The same principles apply in terms of fat loss and exercise will improve over time, no matter how you do it, your blood sugar levels and weight, essentially. However, I do want to say that there's different mechanisms to achieve that, and no one is right or wrong. So the way I describe it is a calorie deficit is the principle, okay? Now, there's loads of tactics to achieve this. Okay, so that could be Weight Watchers, that could be Slimming World, it could be counting calories, it could be fasting, it could be, wait for it, and this one works for a lot of people, having 3 meals a day with protein at each meal. It could be having a one rule where, if your only problem is binging in the evening, it could be your one rule is that you have 3 meals a day, so you nourish your body, and you have one snack that you plan in. Whatever you go with in here, it could be 5-2. These are all tactics to meet the principle. Whatever they say, whatever reasons they say, oh, it's because of this, it's because of this, the research is very clear that this is the key thing, the calorie deficit. So whatever you do to hit this is going to make, morning Sue, is going to be the one that you can stick to, the one that you feel the most confident doing, the one that fits your lifestyle. And I had a chat with someone yesterday about this. They said, I'm losing weight nice and steadily at the moment. What happens in a month's time if it slows down? Do I go in harder? And this is where that support comes in. And we said, no, we'll have a one-to-one in a month's time. It might be that, look, it's heading to Christmas. We have a period of maintenance where we see if you can actually eat more and maintain the weight you've lost so far, so that you can come back in January with a mental break from dieting. It's not really dieting. She's not finding it hard. But a mental break just from it. Not that she's feeling on all the time. Like, this is about stages. And actually, maintenance is integral to your results. Because let's face it, most people say, oh, I just want to lose weight. But then when you go into it, it's like, I actually want to lose weight in a sustainable way. I've lost weight before. I don't want it to yo-yo diet again and again. So this is where a bit more of a strategy comes in. And then we're like, actually, yeah, over Christmas then, let's aim to maintain. Because let's face it, most people put on around, the average is around 10 pounds. Might be different this year, could be worse or not. So, given that, let's go for a maintenance period there. Then you've kept it off, which is key, and now you're refreshed and ready to go again in January. So, given that there is no one diabetes diet, they all work on the same principle. You may find that a lower carb diet keeps you fuller, a higher protein keeps you fuller, having more steady meals keeps you fuller. That's where you've got to do that trial and error, and that's where it depends on you, your lifestyle, family circumstances, so much more than just, a cookie cutter, this is the plan, and that's what we do in the one-to-one in our Kickstart program. Now, one last thing, just wanted to show you this article, really interesting. Based on this, with Gaynor Melanie touched on this from Public Health the other day. She talked about diabetes, and I think it's 11% of the NHS budget at the moment is spent on diabetes, which is just far too high. We talk about saving the NHS. And it's really interesting that when you look at countries, I know there's a correlation here, countries with lower obesity rates are the ones keeping the gyms open, which is really interesting. When you look at what they found was highest rates in UK, 26.4% obesity rate, Czech, Ireland, they've closed the gyms. In countries like Switzerland, Denmark, Austria, Netherlands have kept their gyms open. And they've said things like they would remain open because exercise is too important. Morning, Giovanna. Too important to the physical and mental health of people. And it's just really interesting that it kind of, I guess, looks at and hints at our feelings towards it, the strategy towards it. And it's worth looking at in terms of, if you think about what I've just said, in terms of how powerful exercise can be. I know we can exercise outside. We're doing one-to-ones outside. We have to adapt. We have to do what's right. They have different cultures in different places. How people socialize. It's a lot more complicated than that. There's a lot of things into it. But it goes to show that just how important exercise is and people's attitude towards it, especially when you consider how powerful it is with regards to my diagram at the start. If you didn't see it, you can re-watch. With regards to it's WD-40 on your cells to give you more energy and get the glucose where it needs to go. So you've got the energy that you need to actually feel more motivated and do the things that you need to do. Not to mention giving your organs a rest, removing fat from around your organs there, so things metabolically are working better. So, I hope that helps. That was a whistle-top tour. Is that the word? Whistle-stop tour. You get what I mean. So, any questions, as always, let me know on that. We have a few guests lined up for the podcast coming on, including Anna. Anna's been on our program for 3 months. She's going to be talking about her experiences on the program, what she's found worked, what hasn't worked, what she's applied, what she hasn't applied, and how she's used the toolbox to fit her lifestyle around lockdown, so on and so forth. Have a lovely day. I'm off now for our morning workouts. We've got a quiz workout this morning, which, if some of the ladies watch this, they may have got some answers. Anyway, I'll love you and leave you. Take care. And if you do want more information about our 28-day Kickstart program that starts after lockdown, this is our post-lockdown program, that starts on the 3rd of December in Devizes or Marlborough, or you can do everything from home. Just send me a message. I'll get you details. Have a lovely Friday and speak soon. Take care.